Hi, in this video I'm going to share with you some Japan budget travel tips so you can see Japan without going broke. Let's get started. Hi guys, I'm Marcus Sortias from StreetSmartTraveler.com, and in this video I'm going to share with you some Japan budget travel tips that'll help you save a lot of money. While I won't make Japan Thailand, it will help it make it more affordable for you. So a couple years back, I did a long backpacking trip around Japan. I went to Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, Nara, and Hiroshima, among other places. After I got back, I wrote about my travels on my personal travel blog at www.marcusgoesglobal.com. And my friends, they loved it. They loved my stories and my photos, and I got lots of questions asking about how I did it without spending too much money. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the best tips that I've found. So first step is to plan your trip. Now lucky for you, there's the Japan National Tourism Organization. The initials are JNTO. If you go to their website, they have a lot of free English resources for you. So two resources in particular I recommend. One is, it's called Your Guide to Japan, and basically it's a free general guidebook for Japan, and it's available in multiple languages. So you can download it for free as a PDF file. Now even better is to get what is called the Practical Travel Guides. So you can just find them using JNTO Practical Travel Guides as your search, and you'll find them. So it's a gold mine of knowledge. These are individual PDF files of different parts of Japan. So you can download the PDF file for Tokyo or for Kyoto, whatever you want. So the cool thing about it is that you can choose based on the places that you actually want to go. And you don't need to read information about the places where you're not even going to go to anyway. So I took it a step further. I actually downloaded a couple of PDF files for the places that I wanted to visit onto a flash drive, and I took that flash drive to a print shop. And so I was able to print out my own little custom guidebook that you can see here. But all of the information on the inside is from those practical travel guides. And one of their practical travel guides is called Japan for Free. You definitely want to download that one. So you can see how thin it is compared to a regular guidebook. Regular guidebook would be like really thick, and you don't want to have to carry that around in your backpack. So definitely download those practical travel guides. Alright, so now you've got some information to get your trip started. The next thing is buying the plane tickets. So the most important thing in Japan when buying plane tickets is you need to avoid the Japanese national holidays. So I'll give you a few of them to avoid. The first one is New Year's Day, so that's on January 1st. The other one is Golden Week, which happens usually around the end of April to the beginning of May. And another one is Obon, also known as Lantern Festival. That's another big holiday. So with all of these holidays, a lot of Japanese will be traveling, so planes and hotels and everything will be all booked up. So you want to avoid visiting Japan during these periods. And actually I have a story from my own experience. When I was trying to schedule my flight from Tokyo back to my home, Honolulu, Hawaii, I found that if I left from Tokyo at March 31st, the ticket was $800. But if I left on April 1st, the same ticket, same flight would have cost $2,100. So that's a difference of $1,300 just in one day. So definitely schedule around those holidays so you can avoid the big prices. Okay, so now the next thing you want to talk about is transportation. So again, the big question is about whether should you get a Japan Rail Pass or not. So my reasoning is, if you're only going to stick to one area like Tokyo, or maybe like in Kansai area like Kyoto, Osaka, Kobe, and Nara, so those last few cities are all in the same general area, so you can just take a commuter train to get to those places. You don't need a Japan Rail Pass. But if you're going in between long distances from Tokyo to Kyoto to Hiroshima and back, the way I did, it's definitely worth it to buy a Japan Rail Pass. Because especially if you take the bullet trains, also known as Shinkansen, they're almost as expensive as buying plane tickets. So Japan Rail Pass is a huge savings when it comes to that. So there's a couple things you need to know though about Japan rail passes. The first thing is you need to buy them outside of Japan before you arrive. You cannot buy them in Japan. Another big tip is, when you buy a Japan Rail Pass, they'll give you a piece of paper that you need to exchange at a train station in Japan to get your actual rail pass. So the important thing is don't do it until you're ready to leave the city that you arrived in. So for example, I had a 2-week rail pass. If I arrived in Tokyo and immediately exchanged it, my 2 weeks would start counting, like the clock would be started. So I would have missed out if I'd spent a week in Tokyo like I did. So what I did was, I waited until I was ready to leave Tokyo, then I exchanged my rail pass paper to get a real Japan Rail Pass. So that way my 2 weeks didn't start until I left Tokyo. So that way I got the maximum use out of that Japan Rail Pass. So hope you that's clear. And the other thing is, if you lose your Japan Rail Pass, you can get a replacement. So hold on to that with your life and just protect it at all costs. So now what a lot of people don't know is there's actually a cheaper rail pass. It's called the Session 18 Kippu. So roughly translated, it's called the Youthful 18 ticket. So it's much cheaper than a regular Japan Rail Pass. But the problem is though, you can only buy it at certain times of year in Japan. So you have to definitely check the dates before you arrive if you're going to use that ticket. And also you can only ride on slower local trains. So it'll take you like a lot longer to get to where you want to go, and you might have to make a lot of transfers too. But the savings can be worth it, and also you're allowed to share one Session 18 Kippu with multiple people. So if you're traveling with a group of friends, it could be a big savings for you. Okay. So next step is accommodation. So in any expensive country, I always advise you need to book ahead because the cheapest places will fill up fast. So for example, one place that I recommend if you're gonna go the hostel route, if you want to share a room with other backpackers and you're okay with that, so one chain of hostels I recommend is called K's House. It's just the letter K apostrophe S house. So K's House is a chain of hostels that's across Japan. They're all really top quality. I've stayed at 2 of them in Tokyo and 1 of them in Hiroshima, and all of them were super nice, like as nice as hotels. But they get booked up really fast, so definitely, if you can, try to book your hostels before you arrive, and you'll thank yourself later. Now, if you want a little bit more privacy, but don't want to spend too much more money, then you can go for what are called business hotels. Now, just to clear that up, like I'm sure in America we would think of a business hotel as like, for business travelers and executives and like super expensive, but actually the business hotels in Japan are meant more for like traveling salesmen who just want a cheap place to stay for one night. So there's 2 chains of hotels you can look at. One is called Super Hotel, and the other one is called the Toyoko Inn. And both of them have English language websites, so you can definitely check them out. And if you're really stuck without a place to sleep, you can try one of those capsule hotels where it's like almost like a coffin-sized room where you can only sleep, you can't even sit up. Another option is the internet cafes where you can book to stay overnight, and you can just basically sleep in your chair, and a lot of them even have showers too, so you could use that if you're really, really stuck for a place to stay overnight. Alright, so now my favorite part is food. Japanese food is amazing. So when it comes to sushi though, if you want to get really good deals on sushi, try to go close to the fish markets, where the fish, like closest to where the fish was actually caught, and you can get really good deals on sushi. Another one option that I like a lot is the cafeterias. And by the cafeterias, I mean those places where near the front entrance, there's almost like a vending machine where there's pictures of different dishes, and you just press a button and put in your money. And then what happens is it'll print out a ticket. You take that ticket to the counter and give it to the cook, and the cook will make your dish for you. So that's a really affordable option as well. Another thing you can do is go to the department store food courts. So you can always find good deals there, especially like close to closing time. Well, they'll give discounts of like 20%, 50%, or even more, because the Japanese really stress the freshness of food. So the closer it is to closing time, the more of a discount you can get when you buy food. You can also look at some of the local fast food chains like First Kitchen, so for affordable meals. Alright, so I'm getting close to the end of my tips now. Alright, so another option that's important is phones and communication. So in most countries, you can just use an unlocked cell phone that accepts SIM cards. But Japan has a different type of cell phone network, so you can't really just bring in an outside unlocked phone. You really need to get the phone in Japan. So one option that I like a lot is that there's a service called Rent a Phone Japan, RENTAFONE Japan.com. So it was a service started up by an American in Kyoto. So the great thing is that it's really convenient. You can order online and you can have the phone mailed to your hotel or hostel. So that way you have a phone as soon as you land as soon as you check in, you can pick up your phone and already start using it. And then simply when you're ready, before you leave Japan, you just use the self-enclosed envelope to mail the phone back to them. And then later they'll send you the bill. So that's a really convenient option. If you're going to stay in Japan a little bit longer, you can get the phone off of a foreigner who is planning to leave. So if you check the classifieds of English publications like Japan Today or Metropolis magazine, both of them have classifieds where foreigners can sell off their phones that they're trying to get rid of. So that's another good option for you. Alright, another fun thing is souvenirs. So I think the best places to get souvenirs are the temple markets. So typically once a month, the temples will have these big flea markets where they'll sell all kinds of traditional Japanese goods. So one that I recommend that I went to is called the Kobo-san Market that happens in Kyoto, and it happens on the 21st of every month. So you can get really good deals. For example, I got a really good deal on a kimono, which I'll show to you right now. So this is a really sweet kimono that I got in Kyoto. And I would never have been able to afford this if I had just bought this in America. So it has a really cool design. I got this for about $11 US. So that's one example you can get, is that the Kobo-san Market on the 21st of the month in Kyoto. Another one, also in Kyoto, is the Tenjin-san Market, and that happens on the 25th of the month. So it is inconvenient that these flea markets only happen once a month, but they're really worth going to. I think that's probably the most authentic cultural experience I had when I was traveling around Japan, was to go to a flea market at a temple. Alright, so those are all my tips. But as I like to say in my Street Smart Traveler episodes, I'm not the Street Smart Traveler. It's all of us together putting our minds together. So if you have tips on saving money and traveling in Japan, please leave them below in a comment, and I hope you can all help each other out. And if you'd like more tips, you can subscribe to my mailing list at www.streetsmarttraveler.com. Alright, again, I'm Marcus, and thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.